and go. I hear a lot of people out there say, well, I don't articulate myself clearly enough, or this, that, or the other. Or they're not going to listen to you if you're angry or what have you, you know? And yeah, some of the stuff I put out there is pretty straightforward and nuts. Now, how much of this stuff that I've put out there has stood the test of time? Most of it. You know, I make mistakes. I'm not always right. It's interesting because the first time that Alexia, like, ever made a move on me, she was drunk. She dropped me off here. And she tried to kiss me, and I backed her up a little bit, and I said, you know, it wasn't personal, but it was, I already had a commitment to somebody else in my heart with a friend of mine named Jessica. And it's interesting, too, because when you really look into all of our testimonies in the group that we're in, two of her aunt and her uncle are both senior scientists at NASA that work on really interesting stuff. In fact, her aunt is the deputy director of the Hubble Space Telescope, okay? Whatever that means. And I didn't even find that out until I had lived with her family for years off and on and known her since 1999. It's crazy, but Alexia and I have known each other since I was 15, and this thing with her family and how they're connected to law enforcement, and they've continued to cover up this crime. And you know, we've the first time we reported it while I was inside Collin County, and the guys who tried to report it got bullied out. These were guards that were in oversight of different federal agencies. You know, the feds were in there watching Skinner cover this up. And, you know, lo and behold, they violate me for being on a social media ban on an evading arrest case that has no relevancy to my case. You know, it's unconstitutional. The guy who, you know, originally set me up and was targeting us with electronic harassment equipment as a SWAT officer, a former SWAT officer sniper, okay? A guy who, you know, taught handgun licensing classes and all this stuff, had a website for that. That son of a bitch is in his dad's jail right now. His dad is his chief deputy dockery over there in Denton. That's where they put him, you know? Like, I came in here and said this, and this, and this. And 90% of what I said has already come to pass with this. And when we hear Alexia's testimony, connected back to the Clintons and other things, we know that her mom's from Arkansas. They had this connection there. They're Millers also, which in Hood County, where this DA's office, you know, totally mishandled the case. The DA's office investigator says, have you already reported this to law enforcement? And I say, well, yeah. And she says, well, that's not good. Like, why would it matter if I had already reported this to law enforcement? So you can't keep it? I mean, the whole premise of what I said, in part, in these videos that I released, while on that social media ban that I intentionally violated and went to prison just to get at these sons of bitches, was that, hey, we know they're putting people in charge of these child sex crimes that are involved in these crimes. This is where the predators are hiding. And lo and behold, right there in Louisville, where Alexia's stepfather now threatened me with his corrupt law enforcement connections, like they're going to come and fucking get me. They had an officer there, Brian Preston Gibbons. You know, he was in charge of the child exploitation unit. He was so well respected, and he did all of this great stuff, right? And they painted him as this great guy. This is how the secret group operates. They do this because they're hidden. And we're putting these guys in the spotlight. Bottom line, 8 counts of aggravated sexual assault. You don't even want to know how bad it was, what he was doing. He was going to pick up a victim that he was sent to investigate initially from school after having been assigned the case, you know, putting guns to her head, torturing her, ritualistically really abusing her, raping her, got her an apartment right next to her parents' house. What the fuck? What kind of group of people are these? And so we see this. This is not something that is make believe, you know. And so I hate to say it, but we see the same thing with her family. And so Alexia comes to me. We go up and we collect the testimony of this gal that was connected to the Fraternal Order of the Eagles and running drugs and targeting people and gang stalking. She was an insider to a gang stalking operation, and told us all about it. A connection to a guy who owned this place called Silverwood, which is like the premier theme park destination of the Northwest. And just right after we released this information and worked on this op, utilizing social media, we had a guy who was in the Fraternal Order of the Eagles right there where we recorded that call. It's on there on Facebook, the Treasure Trove. In Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, this guy gets busted from the Fraternal Order of the Eagles, sex trafficking, child sex sting. Boom, got him. You know, I fly a helicopter, you know, on a recording out over this chick's head after, you know, I'll tell this chick that I'll do that. You know, and so these guys think it's a joke over there in Hood County. It's like, man, you guys are fucking blind as a bat to think that this is a joke. And so this is going to go away. You know, you think that your investigator can just completely mishandle this, not do anything, blah, blah, blah. We've got news for you. That's not how it's going down. And so, interestingly, her stepdad first approached me inside the store, okay? Feds already have the tape. It's already there, okay? Bottom line, he's wearing a mask. He asked me, "Where's my mask?" Just real aggressive towards me. I didn't even recognize him at the time because I'd never met the motherfucker. I've seen pictures of him, but I never met him. And, you know, the gray hair and he walks up to me, he's like, "You don't have anything on me," blah, blah, blah. And like, it kind of took me aback, like, who is this fucking guy? You know, why would he say that to me? So on. And I got it, you know, defensive with him in the sense of, really, I was about to whip his ass because he was so aggressive towards me. And he calls me back after I tried to, you know, report to him the rape of his stepdaughter, and he is so aggressive towards me, acting like I'm doing the wrong thing by leaving him a message about, hey, your stepdaughter was raped, and your wife, her mom, covered it up. You might want to know that. He already fucking knew this. These guys are involved in really just criminal activity. Disgusting. And it's funny how it comes back here, and it makes me wonder why I had to push Alex back that time and how it came back to this place and what it all means. And I tell you what, it's not my kiss of death, you know. This guy said the same statements when he called me back that he's already on video saying. He said, "You don't have anything on me." And when he's on the second recording, when he calls me back, totally didn't want to, you know, I mean, if somebody calls me about my stepdaughter being raped, I'm going to be very thankful and appreciative, bottom line. Any reasonable person or parent's going to agree with that, right? It's not, you know, a very comfortable subject matter, but still you're going to want to know. Bottom line, particularly if it was a violent, abusive rape that her father did when she was 39. You don't rape your daughter when she's 39 if you haven't done this before, right? Like, I don't know. Certainly the DA's office in Hood County agreed with me about that, but I don't want to go over those places. But he said, "If I ever see you again, you're done." As far as anybody ever knew, I had never met this motherfucker before, except for right here. The only people that knew that were people that were already investigating the case. If I ever see you again, why the fuck would he say that to me? If I ever see your face again, you're done. Here's my face, motherfucker. You know, we already threw your buddies in fucking jail and said, hey, this is what's going to fucking happen. And in the recording, when I say that to him, I went back and listened to it, and that's when he started to slow down. And you can tell there was a little bit of fear in his voice when we said, hey, motherfucker. I mean, I was really pissed. At this point, I've already been working this for so long. I've already seen, literally, guys, we've watched law enforcement cover up this rape over and over because of who her family is. I mean, her great uncle was a sheriff out in New Mexico, and now this is where Sheriff Skinner's from. You know, I'm on tape telling this sheriff's deputy, hey, well, when you guys talk to the Texas Rangers, make sure that they know that I'm on this investigation and I'm their guy to talk to about this when the time comes. And I say that. It's in the video. Collin County Sheriff's Deputy admits widespread corruption. If you just type that in, you'll see that. And I do this interview with Laura Eisenhower talking about the PSYOPs and Collin County and Operation Medusa and how, Pegasus is part of this. And not even 48 hours later, the Texas Rangers are moving in to Collin County to investigate the death of an inmate. 7 guards, lieutenants and sergeants and all this, were put on administrative leave. And this is a big fucking deal now. And, what are we looking at here? Is this coincidence? A good investigator doesn't even know what that means. It's a logical progression of a series of facts that, paints a clear picture. And so we have all of this stuff going on right now. There's different factions out here. And, she's over there at her mom's house after we bent over fucking backwards to help her. Put a new in, just, it doesn't even matter. But we know that she's been through, the asset training. We know that she has the dissociative identity disorder. We know that they exploit it. And, back me up on this, guys out there, just the audience. What kind of a parent covers up the rape of their daughter or rapes their daughter? Okay? This is what we're dealing with. And so, to me, these were already people that I cared about. Particularly her mom. I don't give a shit about Joey threatening me like that and fucking. It's just, dude, you're fucking with the wrong people at that. I didn't come at him like that. I was trying to help this guy. It's like, dude, I'm out here telling you I'm working this special operation. I've been doing this for fucking years. We'll fucking throw you out we'll fucking kick you out the backstage and fucking. He's telling me he's gonna put me in a cage for reporting a rape of his daughter. What the fuck's wrong with this guy? And so we've got a real problem when they're not gonna report this. And it's exposed so many different levels of this corruption. It is a true blessing, and it hurts because Alexia is still stuck in this thing, and it's hard for her to let go. And I'm in the same position. To a degree. I put in I'm different though. I come from a different side of the fence. I've had people try to help me. We had another case in about sexual abuse that's relative to the Catholic Church, and that's another story, but. We've got an auxiliary bishop appointed by Pope Francis that I've known since I was like 5 years old, stating that, in fact, I was in the presence of this, very prolific child predator priest named Rudy Koss that was a landmark judgment in the Catholic Church and just kind of reverberated around the whole community at that time. It was huge. And it's all coming together. And so we need people's prayers. We need people to understand that this is not a joke. Okay, we've been to, people have a reference points of television. Listen, this isn't something I'm trying to emulate. I don't even watch television. So it's really real out here. And to think that there's varying degrees of getting support from people around me or not, it's really hard to maintain a positive attitude when you're doing this. You're dealing with people that are, 1 minute they're your best friend, the next minute, they're a fucking assassin of fucking, shit. And so we all have to deal with that in ourselves if we've been through this stuff. And what's the common objective? What's the goal? Who are we fucking working for? Bottom line, there comes a time when, if you go ghost, to me, what that means to me is that you can make a conscious decision of what you're doing to come to terms with, the different compartmented aspects of your psyche and essentially, do the right thing based on your code of moral ethics and how you look at the world. And so I firmly feel like I'm doing the right thing by reporting this rape. I firmly feel like I'm doing the right thing by, oh, you're in law enforcement and you want to cover this up? Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. You know what I mean? And so we've got stuff out here. The military is looking at this, okay? Every fucking agency in the book is looking at this. There's way too many good people to let this continue on the part of these evil people. I don't want to say, I'm not trying to say I'm a fucking angel. People can think what they want. But man, how does it all come right back here? And why is the son of a bitch threatening me with his law enforcement connections when they, then the son of a bitch has a guy call me and threaten me like I'm harassing somebody for leaving somebody a voicemail message for which he returns threatening my life with his fucking little buddies. Yeah, right. And so we brought this to the attention of Martucci, Matt Martucci, who's the public information coordinator over there in Louisville. You've seen me talk to David Tilley, who's the Chief Public Information Officer for the Plano Police Department. I did speak with the Chief of the Plano Police Department, Ed Drain, about the issue with Frank Dockery. And, the Rangers have a responsibility here to clean this up. Now, they've already had problems out there with Murphy, who is the sheriff out there in Denton County. These guys are fucking corrupt. I mean, they're all connected. And so what, we're going to let them get away with this fucking murders? We're going to let them get away with, child exploitation, all this other? Fuck that, man. I can tell you firsthand testimony. I know a guy that was pimping out Judge Raleigh's daughter. Don't think we don't have her on fucking video being a hooker out here. What the fuck? Plus, I collected the testimony of another guy who works at Collin County in the appraisal office, picked her up in the context of someone else's property as she was introduced to me as a prostitute, for Christ's sakes. And so we've done a lot of work in this last go-around, and there's a lot of good people on it. And so we're going to see this come to fruition, okay? I will live to continue to tell this story. It's not over yet. There's a lot more. And, we'll see. And so it was neat, though, because right here, Alex was facing me, like right here, like right there. She was drunk, fucking driving around. That's where she tried to kiss me, and that's where it's weird how it comes back right here to this place with her stepdad and all of this other fucking shit, man. And you think about the mind control and the programming and the serendipitous nature of some of this stuff, you just wonder what reality is. But, I'm that guy, I'm that guy that said, hey, we're working this special operation fucking 10 years ago. Who the fuck came and got me to say that wasn't true? Not a damn motherfucker. The stuff I'm saying has been continually acted upon. And so my credibility is not something that I worry. I don't give a flying fuck what people think right now, because so many people are asleep with this, But check my other work. Go back and look at the entanglement of human consciousness and artificial intelligence, part 2 there. And you can hear me talking about Charles Lieber in the context of what's going on now 6 years ago, okay? And, lo and behold, this is the guy that was working with Wuhan Laboratory over there in China. From Harvard, they picked him up in January of last year. We told you this was coming. And so you can go back to sleep and you can think that this is a joke if you're embedded in one of these factions or whatever. Bullshit, okay? You don't win. You're not going to win this. So this is a fight that's already won, and people want to fight the satanic system. They're ashamed of Jesus. They don't even want to let the word come out of their mouth. They think that it's a bad word. I don't know what it means to you, but to me, it's love. It's something that is a resonance, man. It's inside of us, and that's an amazing thing. And I'm certainly not ashamed of that. And so, still looking to see some good things happen out of Hood County with this case, but we've got we've got 2 of Alex's ex-boyfriends totally involved with occultic and satanic worship, or handlers that are around them. This would be Marshall Mahoney, who's going to get picked up for child exploitation soon. I mean, we've already reached a consensus with DPD about him and those charges. That's going to land in front of Greg Willis out there at Collin County, because that's his jurisdiction right there. Even though it's Dallas, it's in Collin County. And then we've got Joe Tittle. What does Joe say? Joe straight up says that he's living with some Satanists, taking care of them, all this, that, and the other. You can just look into his family tree. We know that there's a connection there to daycare centers, child daycare centers, and it just gets dark and dirty there after that. And, guys, I don't even know what to say to you other than we need prayers. We need your support. We need to raise awareness about this stuff. But even if we don't, do you think anybody knew what the fuck I was really talking about when, 2 people died as a result of overdosing, and Frank Dockery got his ass jacked up and thrown in fucking jail, didn't get a bond, and said, well, fuck you. Even at the federal level, we're like, you know what? We're done with you guys. Get the fuck out of here. We see what you're doing. And so these guys are heavily connected through military intelligence, so on and so forth. Certainly, Sheriff Skinner's family has been that, so much so that they had to declassify some of the stuff that his dad was involved with the Army. And you know what? I don't give a fuck about that shit. You know, I mean, I've been doing this my whole life, so I'm blessed. And bottom line, you're messing with these kids. You think this is a fucking joke? You're the punchline, okay? Bottom line.